welcome to BookNews Podcast in partnership with Kenya Publishers Association. This evening, we have with us James Chunguli, the CEO of Crimson Communication Limited. He's here to talk to us about books, about publishing, and everything about BookNews Podcast. Welcome, James.
Thank you so much, Virginia.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure too to host you.
Yes.
So, talk to us about BookNews Podcast.
Book News Podcast is an interesting concept, and this actually is the second edition, if I may call it that, of the Book News Podcast. And the podcast actually is an offshoot of the Book News Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a magazine that started about 6 years ago, that is also published by the Kenya Publishers Association.
Yeah.
And it's an annual magazine. It's only published once a year. And usually the circulation is around the book fair. And we wanted to bring the Book News magazine into the digital age.
Yeah.
And that's why it was agreed that the podcast would be one of the better ways of morphing the magazine into the digital space.
Okay.
So the Book News Podcast basically is a platform where authors, book lovers, book publishers, printers, and anyone who is in the book production ecosystem, editors, you name it, can come and can discuss matters books. So this is the platform that we feel can take publishing to the next era.
Okay.
So we started last year, and the response was overwhelming. There were so many people who participated in the podcast. Many couldn't participate because of time. And again, this year we've had a lot of success with the podcast, and a lot more interest actually has been expressed by so many people who want this platform to continue and to expand and not to be just something that happens only during the book fair.
Yeah.
So that is something that is actually in the works. We are hoping that come next year, January, the Book News Podcast can be a monthly magazine, audio magazine, or audiovisual magazine that we can be putting out in the various platforms that are there for Kenya Publishers Association, and also for all the participants who participate in the podcast. We'll also be able to get a link that has the podcast, which they can also share in their various platforms.
All right.
So this is a concept that we are very happy that it has been very well received by everyone. And we hope that we can carry it out throughout the year and make it accessible to anyone and everyone who is within the publishing circles.
All right.
Yes.
So you have done a lot of things, especially with KPA, Kenya Publishers Association. What's your take for this year's 25th edition of Nairobi International Book Fair?
Of course, this has been a special edition of the book fair.
Yeah.
As you rightly put it, this is the 25th, meaning it's the silver jubilee. 25 years is not a short period of time.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that the book fair keeps growing in leaps and bounds. I've had the privilege of being part of the book fair for almost 12 years now. That's when our relationship with the Kenya Publishers Association started. And we are really, really happy that it's growing. It's attracting a lot of interest, both locally and internationally. Like this book fair alone, we've had over almost 10 exhibitors who have come from all over the world.
Yeah.
So we are really happy that the book fair is growing, the readership of books is growing, a lot more interest is being experienced around books, and books are also making their way into the digital platform. There are a lot of publishers and interested parties who are participating in this book fair, who are taking the book to the digital platform. There is e-books, there are people who are creating digital content. A lot of the publishers are also embracing digital content, and they're creating digital content for some of their books. So it is really, really an exciting time to be in the book world.
All right.
And I'm personally very happy that a lot more people are reading books and are having books accessible, whether it's the hard copy, a digital copy, an audio book. So it's really, really exciting, and I'm happy to be part of this growth. Yeah.
Okay, James, another hat that you wear is publishing.
Yes.
Now, publishing, tell us about the publishing that you've had and where did this come from?
As Crimson Communications, we are really also very much involved in the production of a book. And as you might know, a book goes through very many stages.
Yeah.
There's the development of the manuscript, which is essentially the author. And then now the author looks for a publishing house, and there's editors who will go through the manuscript. And then once it has been polished, then it will land into the creative team who will design the layout of the book, come out with a very creative cover, and then onwards to the print production. So as Crimson, we've been very much involved, very much for so many years in the creative side of the book production. That is in the design, the layout, and in the printing of a book. And as we have also grown, we've had a lot of interest from people who want to publish books, and they would want to work with a smaller outfit, if you might say. And that's how now we also grew into a publishing house. So we've had the privilege of publishing several books. One of the notable books we've published is Courage is a Calling, Saving Mombasa Street Children, which was written by Lucy Yinda.
Yeah.
And that is the book. So that is where we started with publishing. We've also published Black Tipped Nipples by Mildred Ngesa, among several other books. So for us, our publishing mainly focuses on telling stories, real life experiences that people would want to share with the world. So we are creating a niche around such stories that would inspire or would want to change society.
Yeah.
For instance, Madame Yinda has had over 30 years lived experience in trying to rescue, transform, and reunite street children in Mombasa. So that's a compelling story of her journey that spans over 30 years. So such stories are what we want to bring out to the market and to a greater audience. And we are actually in the process of creating what we are calling a Street Stories series. This will be a series of short stories that center on experiences of former street children who are now living very meaningful and successful lives, which is a stark contrast from where they came from.
Yeah.
There are street children who know Wema Center as their home, and there were street children literally abandoned. They don't know any other home than Wema Center, but now they're in high society. They are doing wonderful work. They are businessmen, and these are the stories we will want to be publishing in a short period of time. There's actually one that is actually in the works, and we will be dropping it soon, probably early next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the future of publishing physical books?
Physical books are very much around, and as we say in production, print is here to stay. It is only that it has to find its way into the digital era. So print is not going anywhere, but print is still very much relevant.
Okay.
But it's only a matter of seeing how do we make the printed word also accessible in the digital platforms and in the digital gadgets.
Okay.
So this is something that we see as a positive thing that's happening, because having printed books can be very costly. Like the bulk of the cost of a book is the cost of paper. Paper is never cheap. So having a few copies in print and a few copies in the digital format is a win for everyone, because the author is able and the publisher are also able to have their books have a wider circulation, but also the people who would really want to hold a tangible book also have access to it. So for me, I feel that this is win-win for everyone.
How about AI and the way literature is consumed?
AI is a tough topic at the moment, and it's giving a lot of people a lot of jitters. And with every technology, I think there are pros and cons to it. The only difference is we should not let AI take over our creative thinking, our creative writing, because again now we will be losing our originality. So it is good to have AI in terms of helping us with those repetitive tasks that we might want to do in the production or reproduction of any works that we might be doing. But I would not want AI to take over the creative aspect of any of these processes. Because again now we will lose the originality that is in each and every one of us as human beings. I think there is no way that technology can match the human mind. I still believe the human mind is very, very superior. So it's still a wait and see for us. But we will see how to integrate a bit of AI, because some of these technologies you cannot be left behind. You are left behind at your own peril. So it's upon us to see what works in terms of AI, what are the advantages that we can pick from that technology, and incorporate into our processes to make our processes more efficient and cheaper. So that's how we see it, but we're not really looking to it to take over our creativity.
Because Crimson also is involved in design. Design of name it, anything and anything. And this is an aspect that technology has also come in heavily. What is Crimson doing to ensure that they remain on top of their game?
In terms of design, for us as Crimson, design has been our true passion. And over and above us doing design and offering design services, we do a lot of workshops to train young and upcoming designers who want to get their foot in the industry. So that's one of the first things that we do. We nurture a lot of talent. We employ a lot of young people, and we attend a lot of workshops so that to know where the world is going in terms of design, in terms of basically the entire creative industry, which I think now it's called the orange economy. So design is something that when I started, design was purely for print. But now design is something that makes its way to a lot of digital platforms. So we are trying to remain relevant by creating designs that are relevant and are appealing to the platforms that are coming up. Not only for print. So this is an area that we are really, really focusing on, and we want to be like the guys at the forefront of pursuing this technology and seeing how it works and how we can share it with our clients and how we can also share it with the other people who are coming into this space.
Now, as an individual, you have been involved in many areas within the orange economy. The KPA, you have mentioned, you've been with the BookNews Magazine for the last 7 editions. You have done a lot with KPA. And then this BookNews podcast. When are we ever going to hear your story or see it or read it?
My story?
You have a story.
Yes,
I believe you have a story to share.
I do.
Yes.
I have I have a story, but I think the story is still an ongoing thing. I feel that I've started documenting the key highlights of my life, and I want to be very intentional on when that process will kick off officially. So I will be doing a book about my journey from where I started and my experience. So it's something that is in the works, although I can't really say when.
Okay.
But it's something I've put some steps in motion towards that direction.
Okay.
So we can just say watch this space.
Okay.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can't wait
Yeah.
because we are sure that will be a very interesting story.
It is. I hope so. I hope my story will inspire the few who know it. Tell me that it's an inspiring story. I don't know. For me, it's just an experience that I got to experience in my path to where I've reached. But a few people have said it is a story to be shared, and I think that's also what has given me the intention to want to publish it. Yes.
Okay. And lastly, you've been with KPA and has been in the book fairs over years. What do you think needs to be improved?
Like what we are doing. This is actually an idea that I floated for KPA. KPA started in the 70s, so it is a matter of just bringing the association to the digital space.
Okay.
I think that's the only missing link. Otherwise, KPA has a very robust and rich history. And if you can see even from yesterday's opening ceremony, you saw the caliber of the chairmen who have led KPA to where it has reached. So KPA is doing wonderful work. The only area that we need to help it grow into is the digital space.
Okay.
And we see a lot of emerging platforms of people who want to talk matters books. They're emerging because there is a gap, which we feel that gap, the only legitimate institution that needs to occupy that space is KPA.
Yeah.
So we are helping KPA in taking up its rightful space in the digital space, and that's the area where I really feel they need to improve, and we are helping them do that.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's the parting shot you can tell to our viewers of Book News Podcast?
My parting shot is that this platform is here. This is your platform. If you are an author, if you are a publisher, if you are a printer, if you are a book designer, if you are involved in any way, shape, and form in the production of a book, this is your platform. Please come, reach out to us. We will make this thing as regular and as frequent as possible, but this is your platform.
Okay.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
viewers, listeners, you have heard from James Chunguli himself, the CEO of Crimson Productions, and we are so honored to have had you this evening. Thank you very much for gracing the podcast.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate. Thank you, listeners. All the best. See you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.